Well, everybody, John Bornschein here, and this is our Cable Lane series. It's a part of our Calvary Fellowship Fountain Valley Church ministry, and it's really designed just to help you go deeper in God's Word, even for just a few minutes. I know you're very busy, and so I want to encourage you in God's Word. And today we're continuing in a very serious vein of thought as we struggle sometimes with grief. What I want to encourage you with is a proper perspective of God in the midst of some of our greatest struggles. You see, sometimes when we're confronted with a great challenge, maybe we've lost a loved one, maybe we've lost a job, something maybe even very close to us has been displaced, and we're going through an emotional trauma of some sort. Sometimes what helps us in these circumstances, it certainly does for me, is to have a very healthy perspective of God in the midst of it all. Because sometimes it can feel like the circumstance is bigger than our faith, or the circumstance is somehow bigger than the God whom we serve. And that's the wrong perspective. In fact, when you go to the book of Job, I often prescribe reading Job or 2 Corinthians when you're going through adversity, because what you find is a very personal journey of a man in the book of Job, for example, who is going through immense loss, great difficulty, a number of struggles as he's lost almost everything. I mean, if you will, he's lost his business, he's lost his children, he's lost a number of things that were very close and dear to him, even his servants. And in this, you find that here's a man who, yes, he has moments of great grief, sitting on ashes, even lamenting the day he was born. But as he looks up to God, he won't disrespect God. He's grieving before God. When he implores the God of heaven for almost seemingly a desire to give him an answer, he only tells him, verses 38 to 40, of who he is. Where were you when I created? He reminds him that he is the God who put all of the universe in place. And it gives Job then a proper perspective of whom he's worshiping. Because if God is truly over it all, then we have to sometimes go through the refiner's fire before that becomes real for us. You see, for Job, he had to be reminded of how big God is, and his circumstances were not bigger than the God he was worshiping. You see, he reminds him that he, God, is the one who put the Pleiades up in the stars with his very hand. And when you think of the magnitude of that, here we're talking about a constellation of stars that's 43 light years across. Now, light travels at 186,000 miles per second. This is where I geek out a little bit with you. That means that in 1 light year, you're going to be traveling 5.88 trillion miles. That's hard for our minds to imagine. Now, you're going to be going 5.88 trillion miles for 43 years in order to get to the other side of the tidal radius of that constellation. Now, just to put that in perspective for you, you can go around the entire Earth 7.5 times in 1 second if you're traveling at the speed of light. In fact, the universe, when we look at it and we try to contrast this with the majesty, the creation, the handiwork of the artist, God himself, you think about just our Milky Way galaxy. If you were to try to, travel all the way across it, if you were going to say, I'm going to start at one point of the Milky Way galaxy to get to the other point, and I'm going to travel at the speed of light, it would take you 100,000 years just to get to the one side of the Milky Way galaxy. And that's just one galaxy amongst many. If, for example, you wanted to count all of the stars, and you were to sit down and you were going to count a star every single second, it would take you 2,500 years just to count what's before you. And that would be just what you can see with your human eyes, and even if you had help with a telescope. It's awesome when you look up and you see the majesty, the handiwork of God. And then Dr. Michael Behe will tell you that the human body is more complex than even our entire solar system, with over 3 billion codes that make up the human DNA. You see, you look up and you see the majesty of God. You look down and you see the handiwork, the majesty of God. And therefore, when you're going through great adversity, we have to be reminded of the God of whom we pledge our allegiance to, of whom we say that we follow, that in the midst of these struggles, is he truly God over all of it? Did he truly see the end from the beginning, as he tells us in Isaiah 46:10, that he saw the end before he ever made the beginning? And that means every single adversity that we will go through. He is omnipresent, according to Psalm 139. And then in Ephesians 1:11, he said that there are no accidents, that all things are according to the counsel of his will. That means every adversity that we go through is perfectly prescribed, even, yes, that I would even know the sufferings of Jesus Christ, that I be conformed to his holy image through the adversity that I'm going through. I love 1 Chronicles 29:10-12. He says, "Yours, O Lord, is the greatness, the power and the glory, the victory and the majesty. For all that is in heaven and in earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head over all. Both riches and honor come from you, and you reign over all. In your hand is power and might. In your hand is to make great and to give strength to all." You see, our God indeed knows the end from the beginning. Let me remind you with these powerful words from the psalmist, Psalm 139:14-16. "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. When I was woven together in the depths of the earth, your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." Isn't that wonderful to hear? Because now we see that not only is God omnipresent, he sees all, but he saw you before he ever gave breath to Adam. He always had a plan and a purpose for you. Every day was ordained in God's holy work before one of them came to be. That means he has purposed every single adversity that you're going to go through. And it doesn't mean the absence of God. Oh no, God is in the thick of it, right there with you. He has appointed such things. Even when Joseph was in prison, God was with him and purposing each struggle for his glorious outcome. We read in Romans chapter 8:28 that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Be encouraged, brothers and sisters. God bless you. Take care.